Okay, I think we're live.
Are we here?
As I knock stuff off of my desk.
What did you
Yeah,
knock?
we're here. Just like a lens wipe for my glasses that I'm not wearing, that I never wear during the show. Yeah.
Do it. You should one time. Make it classy. Like make it like 20%
No,
classy.
because of the lights here, like it just there's just a glare, and you can't see my beautiful blue eyes. And then I get the shadows from my frames. Like I look like I'm crying.
I don't know. It's fierce. I think it's fierce.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah. Let's get back. Let's get into it. Let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Devin.
And hi Mom. My mom's in the chat. Hi.
Hello.
Today is our back to school triple feature. We'll be talking about 3 films that have to do with school and classrooms, and 3 very different films, I will say. Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. But before we get started, if you are joining us because you discovered us this past weekend at Harrisburg Comic and PopCon, welcome to the show. We met a lot of very fun people at the convention. We had a blast. We got to hang out with our Rum Runners Podcast Network brothers from Runners Podcast, Jared and Kyle. It was a lot of fun. Ryan was there on Sunday. Ryan, what did you think of the con overall?
It was good. I wasn't sure exactly what I was expecting, but it was definitely more than what I was expecting. So that's good. Yeah, it was fun. We got to meet a lot of people. I hope some of you are watching right now. If you are, thank you for actually checking us out.
Yeah.
So it was in the farm show complex, right?
Yes, it was in the farm show complex, and boy, did it smell like it.
Is it the same place we did our prom?
No. So do you know?
I was going to say, that could still be high school desperation you smelled.
What?
That's where our prom was.
Yeah, we had prom at the farm show complex 2 years in a row. Yeah.
Is this like a common thing amongst like central PA schools to have it at the farm show complex?
No.
No.
We had our prom in like one of the ballrooms at the farm show complex. So we were in the giant expo hall, which is that giant building right before that we would have to walk along to get into where we had prom. So it was that parking lot, that big building there is where they had the prom.
Okay, good. So they had a room. They had a prom appropriate room for you guys to use.
I mean,
appropriate
yes.
is a strong word.
Appropriate is a strong word.
You can't get the smell of cow crap out of everything.
Okay, well, I mean, I can't really say too much because by the time I had my senior prom, it had moved from the observatory at Lehigh University to the Northampton Community Center, which was basically just a metal building with a stage.
What?
Romance.
So you guys probably had the better experience than I did. You guys probably...
Well, I use that as an icebreaker. Like, I got there Friday to set up our booth, and the guy next to me who was selling like retro video game consoles and video games was like, they tell me the smell dissipates after the first few hours. I was like, it's okay, I'm used to it. I had my prom here. I was like, wait, what? Like, that's just... So, but that first day they didn't have the air on either, because you could drive your vehicle in to unload and set up your booth.
Sure.
I didn't do that, but I think the thing I am most proud of for this weekend was the con ended at 5:00 on Sunday. Ryan and I were in the car, loaded up and pulling out at 5:09.
How did you do that?
We had everything ready to go. We got rid of a lot. We gave out a lot of stuff. Like at the end of the night, end of the con, we were like, we had the trading cards we were giving away as part of our game. You roll the dice, you get a prize. We had trading cards we were trying to give away, and these people came up and were like, if you take as many as you want, take them all if you want. And they go, okay. So they just like started grabbing them and throwing them into their bag.
What?
Yeah. So we got rid of all of our trading
cards. Were they? Were they
random ones? No.
Just random ones. Oh
every
my God, Devin,
kid.
Stop it.
Every kid asked if we had Pokemon cards in there. So that's the key, is to like stock up on Pokemon cards. Which is funny because Kyle from Rum Runners kept buying like $1 packs of Pokemon cards.
Oh, incredible.
Like he would just be like, I'm going to go buy a few more packs. And I was just like egging him on.
I would too. They're $1. What you need to do is just get nothing but Dittos. And then whenever people get disappointed, be like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It's the best Pokemon.
I think one of the highlights for me this weekend was just the poster giveaways. But we had somebody come up to our booth in a penguin cosplay costume, which I think was fantastic. And you can see a picture of him on our Instagram. But he like went full on as he's at our booth, like entering the contest. Kyle's chair broke, and he managed to take out 2 chairs at once. And it took everything in me not to do my horrible Adam West impression and just turn, because it was like Adam West 66 Penguin. I was like, oh yeah, Penguin, you fiend, what have you done? Like I just really wanted to break into Adam West. But then our neighbor was like, "You gonna break any chairs today?" When we showed up on Sunday. He's like, "Is the chair breaking gonna be on the podcast?" I was like, "No, we didn't capture that." So, Ryan, what were the highlights for you?
Really just the experience of it all. Like the reason why I paused is because I was trying to think of like one specific thing that didn't involve me buying something, and it was just the experience of like meeting people, having conversations. I think about half the people that we got to come over to our table, I had conversations with about other movies. Like they wanted to know like what movies we had seen, or wanted to ask if we had done like one of their favorite movies, and then just talking about, you know, what they've seen, what we haven't. But then there was that one family that came over that I didn't know who they were. You didn't know who they were, and they knew us. That was the first time that's ever happened to me. So like they walked by, and like it was a pretty decent sized family. They were walking by, and then they turned, and they like saw the name on the banner behind us, and they were like, "Oh, I know these guys," and they came over.
That's so cool.
It was.
Oh, that's so genuinely cool. I'm so jealous.
It was the guy who wrote the 1-star review just dissing Ryan.
He's still here years later, still hasn't gone.
I need to put that up as my profile cover again.
Yeah. One of the cool things for me was one of my former students came in, who works for WJAL, a local NBC affiliate, and came to us for a soundbite, and we made the evening news.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. So, you can check that out. On our Instagram, we have that clip there. We're probably going to do it again next year, honestly. So, Devin, you have a year to plan your trip.
All right. I gotta do this for real, because I am so upset I missed out on this. This sounds incredible. I love cons like this. I want to be on the vendor side for once.
Yes. Or we can just go all out and just get a booth at New York.
Oh, that'd be incredible too.
Yeah.
Or London Comic-Con.
Maybe.
It's like New York,
with
more tea.
Yeah. So because of the con, and because we did a triple feature, I don't think any of us watched anything this past week. I guess I could have pulled a poster for this. I did watch Ahsoka.
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys got to tell me about it then, because I'm being very Devin about it. I realize. Have
you watched Rebels?
No.
Don't watch Ahsoka until you watch Rebels.
Okay, so it's required now.
Yes.
Like it's really.
It's required for you, because we know the type of stuff that you're going to bring up if you watch it without it.
Yeah.
Like what?
I will send you a clip of something from Ahsoka with subtitles, and that will make you want to watch Rebels. I'm going to sell you. I'm going to sell you on Rebels with one character. His name's Chopper.
Okay.
He is a droid.
Uh-huh.
He also has the highest kill count in the Star Wars universe.
Yes. No, he does.
He is a war criminal,
Yes.
And
He's happy
is
about it.
a lunatic. He is a psychopath. That's their droid. And I will send you
Like,
there's
yeah.
there's a conversation that Hera, the Twi'lek with the green,
Sure.
has with her one, like during a battle in Ahsoka, and they put the captions to what he's saying to it, and you can really understand what he's saying, but he's not speaking English, but you can hear it in like the way he articulates, and he's voiced by Dave Filoni too.
Fun.
But that character is going to sell you on Rebels. So if you watch Rebels for nothing else,
Watch it for
you'll
him.
watch it for Chopper.
He's not in episode 1, is he, Chopper?
No,
Or if he
no,
is, he doesn't.
he's a
get
Rebels original.
Yeah, he's
Got it, okay.
He's a Rebels original character, and yeah, he is like my favorite Star Wars character. Period is Hondo. Like across the
Hondo's
whole
great,
Star
yeah.
Wars thing, like it's Hondo. Chopper is like a Hondo droid. Like I don't know how else to describe it except like Hondo kind of shies away from like mass murder and Chopper doesn't.
Neat.
Yeah, and,
Right. I'm actually very excited for this.
yeah. You should definitely watch Rebels. That's your homework.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have more homework for next week that you're going to
Yes.
yell at me for. We'll
Oh,
have to
boy.
talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we've covered Harrisburg Comic and PopCon. Thank you again for everyone who came out to that. It was a lot of fun. We still have a lot of pictures to post. But yeah, we'll hopefully be back next year, or maybe do 4th State in Hagerstown before then. So stay tuned. We're gonna do some more cons after we update our banner and business cards so it has our YouTube on it.
Yeah. That needs done.
Yeah. Until then, today we're going to deep dive into our triple feature. Because it is the back to school season, we are going to talk about 3 films that have to do with school settings. So this was my pick for the week. I don't know why I picked 3 movies when we had a con all weekend. Like that's my bad. But we're gonna do this from most recent to the oldest. So we're gonna start off with Devin's pick, which is the 2019 film Booksmart, directed by Olivia Wilde. Devin, I'm gonna let you introduce your pick and tell us why you picked this for the back to school special.
I got it. So, like Alan said, 2019's Booksmart by Olivia Wilde. I love this movie. This is one of those random I watched on a plane movies. I'm not usually a teen comedy guy, but this movie did enough to subvert expectations. This movie did enough to be, in my opinion, genuinely very, very funny. And it's a movie that, like, I watched it for the podcast for the second time. I would watch it again, like, tomorrow. I like this movie so much. I've been wanting you guys to watch this movie since I saw it on the airplane. I think I gave it a similarly raving review after I had seen it, and I'm happy I got the opportunity. So with that in mind, have either of you seen this movie before?
No.
No. Perfect. So you're both coming in fresh. Let's go ahead and start. Almost fresh?
Let's start almost fresh. I saw this movie in 2007. It was called Superbad.
Oh, that hurts me. Oh.
See, I wasn't going to do that, but now I am. Yes, Devin, same here.
Okay, so then I'll start with Alan. Alan,
Yeah.
what did you think?
I liked parts of it.
Yeah.
For me, it's not super bad. It's very different from super bad. It's a little bit more mature than Superbad was. Like Superbad just seemed like they were just making McLovin jokes, and I think this movie benefits from not having a character like that, unless you count Billy Lord's character. But it's not as in your face. It's just she's just kind of there in the background. But it's hard for me to not make that comparison when it's about 2 students graduating and about to go their separate ways, and then one of them is related to the other. Like, Jonah Hill and Beanie Feinstein are brother and sister. So it's really easy to make that connect. And then you add like all the SNL people who are in this from the same era, like as Bill Hader. But I enjoyed parts of it. I'm kind of interested that you didn't pick the other school movie that is like right up your alley, which was 8th Grade by Bo Burnham.
Oh, you know what? That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That is a miss for me, but that's coming later. We did
Yeah.
need a whole episode for that one.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed parts of it. I think the supporting cast is fantastic. I don't know if I was wowed enough to have to see Don't Worry, Darling right away, Olivia Wilde's follow-up.
Sure.
But yeah, there are things I like. There are things I was like, meh, okay. But
Okay, I'll circle back to that. Ryan, what did you think?
There were some funny parts that I did enjoy.
Mhm.
The way that I would separate Superbad in this movie is that Superbad is just your normal raunchy teenage comedy, like coming of age high school comedy. This is kind of the same thing, except it has an actual message at the end of it.
Mhm.
That's the only difference to me, really, between the two. It's a major difference, but kind of the only one that I saw. Meh.
Yeah.
Other than
okay.
that, I mean, like I said, there were some really funny moments in it. It was just one of those things where it was like, I would be fine just watching clips of those funny moments than watching the whole movie again.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So then, Alan, what didn't work for you? I'm curious about. Let's dive into the negative first. What didn't work?
I think what didn't work for me was just how basic the plot was. Like I think what didn't work for me, it felt like beats were the exact same as Superbad. Like I've seen this movie before. You've changed the characters, you've changed the environments a little bit, but they're still trying to get to this party. They're still trying to do such and like it. It just felt so familiar, and that kind of took me out of it. I think that was my biggest thing. Like I was able to enjoy the differences a lot, and like the modern take on it. Like Uber wasn't a thing back in when Superbad came out. So
now there was an Uber in it, right?
mm-hmm.
It's an interesting take. I think for me, like the basic framework of it all let the characters stand out more, and I think the characters are what wowed me the most in it. Where like what got me the most about the movie itself was that like first scene when she's in the bathroom and she's like, well, I'll see you guys from Yale then. And the one lady's like, I'm also going to Yale, and he's going to Harvard, and he has a 6-figure salary job at Google.
Yeah.
And like that part and like stuff like that made me really click.
I think in writing the premise of they spent all this time trying to get into these schools and then realizing they didn't have any fun throughout high school and want to make up for that the last night, like that's intriguing to me. But and that's what made me want to see this movie. But then it just felt like a Superbad clone. But I will say, like, yes, I did enjoy those characters. Because I think they have an interesting dynamic together.
They're interesting foils to each other, I think. Sorry, I could talk about this movie forever. Ryan, what didn't work for you?
I think the fact, and this, I don't know, maybe I should be saying this to a therapist and not to the public on a podcast.
Oh no.
Is that I spent high school as like, I don't want to say an outsider because I was definitely kind of like a social butterfly through high school, but the group of people that this movie is like depicting, I was on the complete outside of all of this because I went to the Votech for half the day. From sophomore year to when I graduated high school, I only spent the morning from the morning bell till lunch at Freedom High School. The rest of the time I was at the Votech. So I was on the outside of a lot of all of that, and pretty much this movie, even though I graduated, was around 2004, 2005. even though I graduated then and this movie's taking place in 2019, there was a lot of similarities between like rumors, nicknames, where the nicknames come from, all of that. And it just kind of reminded me of all the stuff that I stayed away from. And so that's where like and that, and then just like the two main characters had really great chemistry. They were amazing. I loved them as friends. I loved the tension between them, but they're also the kind of people that like I just would be rolling my eyes at in the back of class.
Oh, you didn't want to hop right in the middle of that friend group? Like if I could be like friend number 3, I would be very happy.
Not with, especially with what the one actress is Jonah Hill's sister. Is that what you said, Alan?
Yeah.
Okay, like especially like her character, like who she was at the start of the movie compared to who she was at the end of the movie. Who she was at the end of the movie is someone that was like had their eyes opened up. They kind of had their like, you know, like come to Jesus moment, like for like their personality a little bit to kind of like wake up, you know, some. Prior to that, to who she was at the start and like where she was prior to being, you know, overhearing that conversation and having that conversation about going to Yale. Walk straight. I would have been in the hallway, walking right past with my headphones on, not even looking at her, because I wouldn't want anything to be having to do with that social circle.
That's fair. I think this might be. I was thinking about this. This might be the first like Gen Z comedy that we've done. Is that? Because this feels very like the movie and a lot of its sentiments and a lot of its humor feels very Gen Z. Did you guys pick up on that? Am I reading that wrong?
I think it definitely is, because I don't think we've done many comedies about people this age that are recent. Like we've done comedies, but like this and So I Married an Axe Murderer are two completely different audiences.
Yes.
But no, I think this is the first Gen Z comedy, and it works for me. Like I work with a lot of Gen Z folks, so the humor wasn't lost on me. But I think, it definitely is the first Gen Z, maybe not even comedy, just the first Gen Z centric film that we've covered.
Oh man. Oh boy. Are we getting old, guys?
Yes, we are.
Okay. That makes
May I remind you about my summer?
That's fair. I actually contemplated that. I'm like, should I shave my beard? It ages me. You know, like I've had that conversation with myself now. It's no thanks.
Don't even worry about it. Just do it. Don't even worry about it.
No, I look like that Muppet. I look like the scientist Muppet. Not
that thought about like okay. So here's my. There are a lot of things that I refuse to do or say or have opinions and certain opinions about, because I don't want to be the person that I was annoyed by when I was a teenager or in my young 20s.
Yeah, that's fair.
From someone who was older, you know, people ranting about the younger generations and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing that I heard a lot in the break room of my old employer from people in their 30s when I was in my younger 20s and in their 40s is not doing things and just having the thought of like looking older or younger by things they do for their appearance. Just get rid of that thought and you're going to be a lot better off.
Devin, I'm going to solve this issue for you. I put it in the chat. If you think Devin should shave his beard, say yes. If you think he shouldn't, say no.
Yes. My favorite part is that everyone I've told this in real life has had an almost visceral reaction to it. I did it today to coworkers, and they literally went, "No!" And like they have no stake in my beard. So like I'm so excited to see what chat says. Tell me.
All right. So far we have one. Keep the beard.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's friend of the pod, Romana, who's in the other room.
No, somebody else's wife. I can hear her giggling upstairs. But
she likes the Muppets. I figured the Muppet resemblance would be great.
And my mom says keep it too. So
Oh, okay. Well, it's staying.
Yeah.
It's plastered on. I'm
For now,
tattooing it now.
the show is
So
still
you're
young.
letting other people's opinions dictate what you do with your own body?
Yes, this is
Devin,
fun for
I'm
me now.
so disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
Listen, we'll get to therapy session later, Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I had for my movie. I love this movie. I think it's fun. I'm glad you guys enjoyed parts of it. I'm
Is there
sad
any-
all of it didn't work, but I get it.
Is there anything in the movie that doesn't work for you, Devin?
Almost no. Almost
Okay.
not. Like I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it just as much the second time around. I think her going to jail, like that like plot beat, I think like was a little bit like could have been hit harder or like shouldn't have happened as much. I get what it did for her character, but like
Yeah.
I think that was almost unnecessary, but the rest of it I think worked really well for me.
I loved that.
Did you?
Well, because it was her, like, remember, she's in the bathroom crying and she's being called meek.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to skip over what happens in the bathroom and go straight to that moment. And it's almost like she had a wake up call and like her personality changed. And she's like, you know, I'm going to do it. Because like she had an intrusive thought and she just did it.
It reminds me of, and you guys have never seen this, and I won't make you watch it. There was this movie called Lamageddon, and one of the characters' character arc is that he's this like meek little boy, and then he has sex, and the whole rest of the movie, his voice is like this, and he's macho now because he has done it. And like, I just think that's so funny, and it's almost like a more serious version of that.
Is that why your voice changed after prom at the farm show complex?
Indeed, it has.
Okay.
And the smell of cow manure gets me every time.
I feel like I said a lot of negative stuff about this movie, so real quick, I just want to say my favorite moment of this movie is the Uber scene.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
With Jason Sudeikis, because as somebody who used to drive for Uber, I felt for him in that scene. Like I would never give anyone like access to my stereo for that reason, because if that were to happen to me, I probably would crash my car.
Brian, what's
my favorite thing from this and why I backed the whole thing about the cops is when she calls shotgun as she's getting put into the back of the police cruiser and then goes, "Oh no, don't worry, I don't have a shotgun." But yeah, like that, like I would say probably the moment they meet Mrs. Fine, till the end of the movie, like I would watch that again. Like from when they run into her to where they call her to the very end of the movie. That whole, like I'd say like probably like the last third of the movie. Like that, all of that I actually liked a lot. But yeah. There was something else there. It just flew out of my head.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm a huge Will Forte fan, so anytime you get Will Forte, like we made you graduation, like the mushroom caps, and I have this dish called "All of You Very Much." Like, just his delivery's so sweet and so silly.
Yeah, him and Jason Sudeikis being in this and not having a scene together though feels like we were robbed.
Agreed. So, it would have been hard to get them together, but it would have been so worth it.
Okay, so that's our first pick of this triple feature. Moving on to Ryan's pick, the Robert Rodriguez 1998 film, The Faculty, starring Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood, and Lilith from Frasier.
Yeah.
Ryan, take it away.
So this movie came out in 98. And I was in the middle of middle school. Like I was like either 7th grade or like around 7th. Depending on when this was released, it was 7th grade. And this became one of those like, for 8th grade, it was one of those like movies where it's like, hey, I'm going into high school. This is a high school movie. Kind of, like that type of a deal, besides the whole science fiction, thing of it. But this movie was in heavy rotation for me pretty much almost all through high school, and it fades and then comes back and fades and comes back. Um, it's one of those movies that I own a Blu-ray and a DVD of. Um, so there's that. But yeah, so I mean, I like it. I enjoy it. What about you guys?
I had seen this movie before. My wife had me watch it once because she's a big fan of this. I enjoy it. Like, it's very, very similar to other movies that, even like the movies they reference. Like, after watching The Thing, it feels very much like The Thing, in elements of it. But I appreciate it a bit more after working in a school for a year. So, yeah, I enjoy it. I want to address the poster that I bought that I have hanging behind me. I bought that this weekend just for the show.
I'm so proud of you.
Because I wouldn't have gotten it if we weren't doing this, but it was worth it. Like, it was worth the visual gag.
The fact that anyone is selling the faculty poster blows my mind.
Devin, you want to take a guess at who I bought the poster from?
Josh Hartnett himself.
No.
Damn, I didn't know what he's doing nowadays. I was hoping that.
A Ghostbuster.
What?
The Ghostbusters of Central PA was selling movie posters. So that's
Hold
where
on.
I got it. Yeah.
What was that? Does Central PA have Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Are you don't know about the huge like fan group that the Ghostbusters have?
No, how was I supposed to know this? What is this?
You don't know about
do you know like the 501st where
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that, but with Ghostbusters fans. So they have an Ecto one with the hearse decked out.
I saw that. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that picture. Okay.
And they were all wearing Ghostbusters uniforms. Anytime one of them stopped at our booth, I would be like, "Thank you for protecting us from ghosts this weekend."
Guys, why are we not doing this? What are we doing?
Not putting our money into costumes.
I don't see why. Do you guys want to end the show now and just do that?
I know what our next promo is going to be next time you're in town, though.
Is it with them?
No, it's going to be us redoing the commercial from Ghostbusters. Like within Ghostbusters, where we all just like step forward and talk about the podcast.
Yes.
Do you
I want it.
movies?
I want it so bad.
Yeah. That next time you're in town, we are doing that. Remember that, because I will forget.
I will. No, I will, because this is on my mind now.
Fun stuff.
Ryan, as far as the movie is concerned, The Faculty, I'm gonna start this by saying I'm very, very, very happy that I did not discover this movie when I was in high school, because this movie would have become my personality.
Which character? Which
not
character?
Even the character, the movie's oeuvre, all of it. The everything sucks in the end mentality. The only people that are getting through this are the weird people, but even they're not getting through. Like, all of it, every second of it, I ate it all up. I loved from the second the principal goes, "Well, you'll just have to reuse the set from Our Town from last year," which has no set. I loved it. Like, it had me hook, line, and sinker every single second of this movie. And I'm so happy that I saw it as an adult, where I'm able to take a step back and go, it's just a movie. You don't have to be them, Devin, because high school and middle school me would not have had the strength. So thank you for showing me this movie.
You are welcome, because like watching this movie walks a tightrope between being like brilliantly corny and almost awful with how some of the lines are, where like they defeat the one teacher and Stokely goes, "Isn't this about the time someone says we need to get the F out of here?" And then the jock goes, "We need to get the F out of here," and they all storm out of the classroom. Like, there's multiple scenes like that, but at the same time, that partnered with a really good retelling of the like It type story, or like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or the Puppet Master that's that's talked about in the movie itself. In Animorphs?
Animorphs.
Is that what Animorphs is? I never read any of the books.
Animorphs is they put slugs in your ear that control you, and the only people that can save the day are 5 teenagers who can also turn into animals and 1 alien.
I have more questions about that later.
Read the books.
No, I'm not going to. It's too late now at this point. And that's one of the things that keeps on bringing me back to this movie. And it's lines like when the nurse, she's like, she has a cold or a flu or something, and Jon Stewart walks over and his character and starts talking to her, and he says, "You're sick. Why don't you go home?" And she says, "I'm saving my sick days for when I'm feeling better."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's such a real answer to that question.
Or the fact that, like, at some point it, like, pans over to, like, a not used coffee pot as the, like,
yeah,
things are serious now. They're drinking water, not coffee. What's happened here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, like, what I liked about this movie as a teenager is that it put the anxiety of, like, high school social pressure almost at the same level of terrifying as dealing with the, like, alienated teachers. I don't know how else to say that, but yeah, like, that's one of the things I liked about it as a teacher. Like, them dealing with their own lives outside of the school being taken over was just as tense as, like, the school actually getting taken over. That's one of the things that keeps on bringing me back to this. But yeah, I think I did pick up some style cues from this, but I think it was from Zeke. Like, the whole, like, long sleeve t-shirt under a short sleeve t-shirt, and, like, the layers and the baggy jeans. Like, I was definitely that direction for a little bit.
Ryan, I had a shirt that was specifically made to look like a long sleeve t-shirt under a short sleeve t-shirt. It wasn't two shirts.
I had like 4 of those.
It was one shirt.
Yeah, I had like 4 of those. And guess what? I still wore a shirt under that one.
You rebel,
because of, layers.
One of the things that stood out to me about this movie, because I think since the last time I watched this, I've seen more 90s teenage horror movies like Scream and stuff. It feels very much of that vein of, it's a horror thriller, but it's also, like, trying to be kind of cool. And Miramax was behind most of those movies. Like, it definitely has that feel to it. But I want to point something out about this poster quick, because I noticed this when I hung it up on the wall. Why is Usher on the poster?
Because he's Usher. Because he's Usher, and he's got a few speaking roles in the film. But,
like, he's not part of the main group. Like, the jock is not on the poster, but Usher is. Like,
you mean? Hang on a second. So, the star quarterback's not on that poster?
Correct.
No, he's not. I just pulled it up.
Usher is in his place.
I didn't realize that. And I love it.
Maybe they had a rewrite.
Hold on a second, guys. I gotta take a call.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, Usher was in a lot of movies during the late 90s. Yeah, no, he was. And that was one of the things that we're going to talk about the next movie, that there's one of the actresses that plays one of the teenagers. She's a very, very, very important, I would say almost on the god list of rap and hip hop artists.
Wait, really?
But we'll get into that. Yes, and I'm so happy you're having that reaction. So yeah. But anyway, stop looking it up. I can see what you're doing. Stop.
I am. I want to know. Okay. I want to know.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to it when we talk about Sister Act. But anyway, so you liked this movie a lot. I'm so happy that you did, because really, without where I was going before about how corny like this movie is sometimes, I was really afraid that like one weird line was going to throw you off this movie real quick because of how 90s corny it was. And some of the lines I was worried, I was like, I don't know if Devin's going to get past this part.
No, but that was it. It knew that it was corny though, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That, like, it leaned into it quite a bit, and that's what made it totally fine. Like, I've never seen Scream. I've never seen like that same like I haven't seen a lot of movies along that same genre of like horror, but like too cool for school horror. So
You've
like, this
never
is
seen the original Scream?
none of them. I haven't seen any of them.
That's
So
going
like,
to change.
this is my introduction to this
If-
like very specific brand of.
If only spooky season was right around the corner.
I can't wait. Like, I'm already getting like, I've seen like all of my like LA friends post their first pumpkin spice latte of the year this week. Like, it's happened.
I got mine the day before they came out.
How did you do that?
So the Giant near us has a Starbucks in it. So we went in as they changed the signs out on a Wednesday night, and they start selling them on Thursday. I'm like, can we get a pumpkin spice latte? Like, yeah, they don't come out till tomorrow, but we've got the stuff. So
Like the only
well
person
done.
who doesn't really care about
that might be the most
Like, it's not
basic
that I
hipster
like them,
thing
but-
I've ever said. So
It's very cool though.
all right. What? Anything else on the faculty?
Other than it's a carryover from when I was growing up, going to high school. It was one of my favorite movies during that time period. So I'm happy that Devin enjoyed it as much as he did, and I'm happy that Alan did not mind watching it a second time.
Yeah.
Did not mind.
The only reason I minded was because I was tired, and
Well,
but
yeah, there's
it gave
that,
me
yeah.
gave me time to get the show prepped for today. So,
Mm,
all right,
yeah.
now we're gonna move on to my pick for this triple feature, Sister Act 2: Back in the Habit, because Devin had never watched Sister Act 1. We're diving right into Sister Act 2 and not talking about Sister Act 1 at all. Unless, Devin, did you watch Sister Act 1?
I stuck with the spirit of what you had asked me to do, and I dove straight into Sister Act 2. I'm watching Sister Act 1 this week.
Okay.
So I will,
Alright.
because I know that there is somebody who's watching that very much wants me to have watched Sister Act 1.
So
I
we don't
will
want to
not
talk about Sister
disappoint.
Act 1, just Sister Act 2?
I'm so mad at you. He's got the vinyl of both of them. I didn't know they even made vinyl of these.
I don't know why they did, but they do. And I bought them at Walmart.
The fact that they weren't like in like the bottom of someone's barrel, like, you know, of records under all the
God.
copies of Saturday Night Fever
Yeah.
surprises me.
So I'm really interested to talk about this because I rewatched Sister Act 1 before this.
Oh, incredible.
Because I am curious what questions you have about going into 2. So Sister Act 2 tells the story of Sister Mary Clarence returning to the habit to help her sisters teach at a Catholic school in San Francisco. We haven't left San Francisco, guys. Like,
No, we
it's still
haven't.
a trend.
Oh, I love it.
So she comes to St. Francis High School to teach the music class. This is a movie that I have watched for years. Whenever it's on TV, I will watch it. I remember being sick on vacation one year on a Sunday, and my family all went to church, and I was like, I'm going to stay home and watch Sister Act. That's the same. But yeah, this is a movie that I grew up with. I grew up Catholic, so there's a lot of things in here that some of the humor works a little bit more for me, probably. Ryan, what's your history with the Sister Act 2?
Well, I was raised Catholic as well, and Sister Act and Sister Act 2 were on pretty much rotation when I was younger. So even though I haven't seen this in literally years, probably since middle school, I was watching it and I was remembering jokes and lines before they happened, even though I haven't seen this since I was like maybe like 12. But yeah, and like there's jokes in this, just like, congratulations, you're the new mayor of Sodom and Gomorrah. There are jokes in this that are, leaning towards that direction, that you kind of get more out of them
Yeah.
because of that upbringing. But other than that, I mean, it's still a good movie, and it's still, it hasn't, it's aged well, I would think.
Devin, since you only watched this one, I'm very curious to hear, what are your thoughts and what are your questions from Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit?
I think my biggest question about Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit is, why did they jump straight to the Rocky 5 plot? Why did they not like go for the mobsters from number 1 again? Or why did they not like help the Russian like convent down the road, like get their groove on? Like, I thought it was such an interesting, like, so from my perspective, right, the nuns were the interesting part, right? Like, Sister Mary Clarence was the interesting part. The nuns are the interesting part. And what I feel like this movie did was pull focus away from the things that I thought were interesting and were fun, and were like, now deal with these teenagers. And like, I maybe I saw this movie like on a bad day or something like that, but like, it wasn't, I don't know. I this is my first time seeing it. I don't have a Catholic upbringing, so a lot of those jokes didn't like land well for me. The concept of nuns are very silly to me, like in general, like, because I've never really interacted with a nun. There's still this like mythical creature that like I've never actually seen out in the wild. So like, I don't have like a connection to much of this.
Okay.
But like, by the strength of the characters, the stronger characters were the nuns, which is why I really want to watch number 1, because I feel like I'm going to love something completely centered around Whoopi Goldberg. I'm going to love something completely centered around the nuns that I had a better time with than like the kids, I think.
Yeah, and I think watching them both back to back for this, they you probably would have gotten more appreciation if you had watched one before this.
I'm so happy I
But
watched it this way, because I feel like I'm going to love 1 now.
Yeah, I also like the idea that you watch this and your first introduction to the nuns as a choir is them singing Ball of Confusion. Or no,
Yes.
I'm sorry, rapping Ball of Confusion.
Okay. One of my questions was, they did that and they like brought the kids in, right? Like, they were like, come watch this. Was that supposed to like completely change their minds?
No, but I think it was supposed
Okay.
to open them up to the idea.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how. Can I spoil the end of Sister Act 1 for you, quick?
Of course you can.
They
Of course
perform
you
for
can.
the Pope.
Yeah.
Okay. So, friend of the show Romana may be listening. Friend of the show Romana, after I watched number 2, I went, I'm going to call every single beat of Sister Act number 1. And I'm already wrong. I'm
Yeah.
already wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah. So the students' angle of this took you out of it.
I think it wasn't that it took me out of it. I think it's just that I've seen it before. In kind of the same way that like the Breaking Bad parallels in Booksmart took you out of it a little bit, where like, of course one of them has a parent that doesn't quite approve of it, and of course that angry parent gets, super mad, and of course she's gonna turn, you know what I mean? Like, that part of it I totally like knew already, and I wanted to get back to what made this movie unique, like made it like a fun movie to watch.
Okay.
Well,
What? Go ahead.
you had said something earlier, actually, that I was really curious about. And you said that when you were telling people that we were doing this triple feature, this is the one that people like were like, like at the end, or like gave like a look during. Is that because people love this movie and like it's just like, I can't believe somebody had never seen this staple of a movie? Or is it because it's not a good movie?
I think it was more because we were at a Comic-Con and we're like, yeah, we're going to watch Booksmart, which is a modern movie that was decently well received, or the Faculty,
Oh, yeah.
which is a 90s movie that is like a cult classic. And then Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit. Like, it's just such a
It's really
juxtaposition between the other two films.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Family Guy joke about the only way to save the day is to be Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Like, it's such a long title to list off when it's like The Faculty, Booksmart, and Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit.
And Devin, you get the name of the movie, right? Like,
Habit's the thing they wear.
Okay, good, because I was so afraid you were to be like, yeah, she's back in the habit of like helping people, and
I mean, that's the double entendre. I mean, the third one's called
okay.
Breaking the Habit, and I can't wait for her to like blaspheme the whole time.
We've had conversations before. Alan and I know that you haven't, that like you weren't raised in a household where you were raised Catholic, so you may not know these things. I mean, I knew a guy recently who didn't know what a pew was, so I mean, I do explain that.
Okay, so. Film-wise, were there any musical moments that you enjoyed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I can't even remember the song now. I feel like such a terrible person. When they were doing the fundraiser and it was the choir singing again.
Yeah.
It wasn't We Didn't Start the Fire, but it also wasn't not that song.
Get up off of that thing. Hold on, let me check. Get up off of that thing, Dancing in the Street.
That was it, Dancing in the Street. That was a lot of fun. That part was fun. I like that a lot. I don't know that I liked any musical number that the kids did.
Did you like the end credits song?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I liked it. And
I got violent with Disney Plus for trying to like make me watch something else when it like went to the small ones. Like, no, I'm watching this whole thing.
I did also like the end quip a lot, like that whole transition from like, I'm not a Las Vegas showgirl, I'm a headliner, and then that's really good. I really like that.
I think the whole third act is just a great farce. Like, I think crucifixes, like like it's such a great like farce and just ridiculous, and still has a lot of heart to it too. So.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I mean, those three were almost Three Stooges at the end, and I really like that.
Yeah. And Cooper was one of them.
Cooper?
What are you talking about?
Fill me in.
Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, you mean Mr. Noodle?
Mr. Noodle, yeah. Who's also Cooper in Jurassic Park 3.
Wow.
We don't talk about Jurassic Park 3, just like we don't talk about the Jurassic World sequels.
I love Jurassic Park 3, though.
I hate it because there's
know why.
Yeah.
Alan! Like...
follow me for more bad movie takes, I guess.
Speaking of Jurassic Park, they've released a poster online that I guess is going to be a Lego retelling of Jurassic Park on Peacock.
What?
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be narrated by Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, you had me back.
Yeah.
Had me back.
The poster is just the Jurassic Park poster, but it's like falling apart, and there's a pile of bricks underneath it, and there's a Jeff Goldblum minifigure. It's like, that's a giant pile of bricks.
I'm on board. I'm so on board.
In the chat, he just makes me think of the Green Mile. I haven't seen that in years.
I haven't seen that ever.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No, never. This is something that we could add. I wonder how I remind someone, or who somebody reminds someone of the Green Mile. Is it Cooper? Is he in the Green
Cooper.
Mile?
Yeah, he's in the Green Mile.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not gonna touch that anymore. All right, so Whoopi Goldberg's in this.
Yeah.
Kathy and the Jimmy from Hocus Pocus is in this as well. Maggie Smith, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Did you recognize any of the students in this? Because there are a few.
This is what I wanted to bring up.
You should recognize.
Yes, but in the same way that some of the people in the faculty, I went, I know that person. How do I know that person? So I need my hand held on this one.
Okay.
Because I know there's a lot of kids that I'm like, that person looks very familiar, and I just did not connect the dots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the main girl is Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
Who had a very successful music career in the 90s. and then started
Oh.
like coming out 2 hours late to concerts and only performing for 30 minutes and pissing off all of her fans. So she plays Rita.
Gotcha. Okay.
The girl who sings the Love Boat theme.
Yeah.
Do you remember Beekman's World?
No.
It was an educational show in the 90s that the guy had like, he kind of looked like the Slim Jim guy, and he had his like assistant was a man dressed like a rat.
Yeah, and he has that green lab coat, right?
Yeah. The girl from that is the one who sings the Love Boat theme.
Oh, that's so
Her
weird.
her name's Alana Ubach. She's been in a lot of things recently. Like most recently, she's been in Euphoria.
Oh, fun. Okay.
I think the biggest name though from the cast that you probably recognize, like, oh, why does she look familiar? Is Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Which one was she?
She was the one always doing her makeup.
Oh my God, she was.
Yes, that was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yep. Everything's clicking now.
So Devin,
Yeah.
when I was telling you about before about there's one of the students was someone important. It was Lauryn Hill that I was telling you that was in this. She was the one I was mentioning before.
That makes a lot of sense then too. Okay. Yeah, because she was okay. I'm getting it. I'm drawing the connections.
So I think my biggest takeaway from watching this time is I'm disappointed that Maggie Smith was not in the end musical number. Like over the credits.
She wasn't.
I couldn't see her. She might have been, but I just wish she was. Like, it felt weird that everyone else is in it except for her.
That is a shame.
Yeah. So Devin, you're gonna watch Sister Act 1.
It's going to be on my We Watch This for next week.
I am very excited to hear your thoughts. Would you be surprised if I told you that they are making a Sister Act 3?
You know what? I looked it up actually. I'm so curious just by the title, Breaking the Habit.
That's not necessarily the title.
Oh no?
There's not much known about it at this point. Another alternative title that it might get is Sister Act 3 Old Habits Die Hard. But it looks like it's being produced by Tyler Perry. And Whoopi's coming back. I think they're trying to get Maggie Smith back. But it looks like Kathy and Jimmy's coming back. Yeah. Would you watch Sister Act 3?
Yeah, of course. I'm in it now. Like, of course I would. Now, would you guys watch it if it was like Bill and Ted 3, right? Or would you watch it if it was kind of really its own thing? Like, because I feel like it's going to end up being more of like remember that one? Remember that thing we did? Look at them singing a song now. Like, oh, they're doing Gangnam Style.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to figure out what the movie's going to be because you're not going to have some of the nuns that are like staples of these movies. Like Sister Mary Lazarus won't be in it.
Oh.
So, because she passed away in 1995.
I was afraid to ask, and that's a shame.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that they get it done and can get Maggie Smith in because I feel like at the end of the day, and you'll appreciate this more after you see one because it doesn't really make much sense in this movie. The core relationship of that film is the Mother Superior and Sister Mary Clarence. Like that's the conflicting relationship. To the point where when they did Sister Act as a musical on the West End in London. Mm-hmm. They had Whoopi Goldberg come in and play Mother Superior for a spell.
That's so fun.
So
I really like that.
But yeah, Whoopi Goldberg is doing the the Harrison Ford thing where she's going back and playing all of her iconic roles again. She was Guinan in Picard season 2, and she's going to be Dolores / Sister Mary Clarence one more time. The other nun who I need to bring up because she has a connection to my wife locally. The nun who's the old lady in The Wedding Singer, who sings Rapper's Delight, the short little
Yep.
She's from Mount Carmel, which is right outside of Shamokin, where my wife grew up.
That's fun.
And she won't be in it either because she also passed away. So, yeah. On that note.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Sister Act 2, enjoy Sister Act 1. Cause this is a very interesting experiment we're having you do, for science.
Love it.
So
I feel like I'm just going to love one more though. Like now that I'm like, I kind of get what the gist of it's going to be. I'm excited for it. I really am.
Yeah. And there's not really many jokes that you missed from that carryover. Maybe the drapes. That's about it.
I feel like the drapes felt like one, and then there feels like there's one of the nuns is like a much lower voiced singer than we were expecting. Because in the one song, she like came like, oh, it's a shockingly deep voice you have.
The one who's the one who's in a different uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a.
And I feel like that's a bit of a holdover from number one.
I think my favorite moment in this is when the choir is first singing "Oh Happy Day," and the kid with the solo hits the high note, and Whoopi's just like,
yeah. He's got a good voice. That's one thing about this movie is like everyone's got a phenomenal voice in this. Like there wasn't like a frog among them. Like everyone was a very good singer.
Yeah. Well, Devin, when you're in a choir, I think we can both attest to this. When you're in a choir and can't sing that well, you can kind of hide it.
You just hide it. That's all I did. One time I was the only baritone. I was like, don't do that. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. We were both in the high school choir together, Ryan.
Yeah.
If you had.
I figured I was in middle school choir and I got out as soon as I could.
I wasn't in it for choir reasons. I regret all of it.
It's a high school activity. Most of us regret our, clubs we were part of.
And where our high school chose to have prom. Full circle. Look at that.
Well done.
All right. I think that does it for our back to school triple feature. So since we're talking about back to school and all of that, like, is there anything you guys miss about going back to school?
I had this the other day. Oh my gosh, I had this the other day. I went on vacation and I bought a whole bunch of clothes for vacation. And I had a whole new outfit. It was shirts, it was pants, it was socks, it was shoes, it was all new. And like, I didn't wash it. So I just like wore brand new store clothes and smelled like new clothes like the whole day. And I kind of missed that. Because my parents would do that where we would go back to school shopping. I would get a day one outfit and I would wear those new clothes to school that first day. And like, that was always so exciting. So yeah, that's my thing.
Ryan, how about you?
I mean, besides getting new school gear, that's the only thing that I can think of. I haven't thought about this in years.
Okay.
Well, someone has new school or first day of school energy every year now, Alan.
Yeah. And then it's gone immediately. I miss the summer. No, I like working in a school now. Like it's weird because the first day of school is like a month before classes start for me. So I'm like there, in the chat, my mom, who's also a teacher, says playing hooky. For me, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird being back in a school environment because I have like everything that I had in school before, like especially with being on a college campus. Like there's a coffee shop like right outside my office. Like I can walk to, like I like being on a campus again, but I
Yeah.
guess it's that first day back where everything like seems new again. It's like a different smell in the air and just the energy is contagious sometimes with the students. So that helps gets me through the day. So.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, I'm very worried to ask this next question, but Devin, what's your pick next week?
Why are you worried?
I don't know. Like I felt like that was a good note to end on, and now I'm like, Devin, what are you making us watch? Like I'm scared.
Oh, you're gonna regret it. But I'm continuing something I started a while ago because we got to do it because it's my favorite. But it's also recently been described as the worst in a podcast that I listened to. It's also on IMDb been described as one long self-indulgent narcissistic movie, a diabolical MTV farce, or it doesn't get more stupid than this. Guys, we're watching Mission Impossible 2.
Who here hasn't seen that?
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Did you
I've
watch
seen
it? No, because you were the one that didn't watch it, Alan. I didn't know you watched it.
I watched all of them before Dead Reckoning.
You watched all of them?
Yes.
Holy cow. Well, never mind.
So,
Then my pick for next week is a surprise.
Oh.
Because I didn't plan anything beyond this.
I mean, we can always do what you and Ryan did for the Fast and Furious franchise at some point, so we can talk about them.
We should do that at some point then.
At some point.
We should do that.
We
Yeah.
will talk about that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
Mission Impossible is easy to break up.
Yes. So sorry that I stole your thunder there
No
a
worries.
little bit, but we'll figure
There are
that out.
so many movies.
Yeah. And to find out what we're going to be watching next week, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and listen to You Have to Watch This podcast on all major podcasting networks. You can also visit our website, rumrunnerspodcastnetwork.com. Check out our show and all the other Rum Runners Podcast Network podcasts. And stay tuned. We might be doing some fun things with them, doing some collab stuff with them and with some other people that we met at the convention this weekend. One of which I didn't tell you about yet, Devin. So I'll tell you about that quick here after the show. But until next time, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And remember, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
Unless they're an alien.